Hello everyone, welcome to the 10-Minute Sea Discussion podcast, where I, Nora, your host, will break some exciting news from Southeast Asia, a small but fast-growing region in the Asian continent. Now, let's stream into our 6th episode, Automation as Industry Transformer, a tale or headwind to ASEAN employees. According to a research published in 2016, by the International Labour Organization, or the ILO, Southeast Asia is a so-called tech-savvy region, given the increase of 350 million phone subscriptions from 2008 to 2013. Such a figure positioned ASEAN right behind India and China, the world's two most populous nations. Within these 5 years, Internet use also witnessed 16% annual rise, showing the area's extent of tech reliance, a major factor for later vast technological applications across sectors. Back then, in 2016, data from the ILO indicated an interesting fact that despite being a tech-savvy zone, a majority of regional workplaces were largely reluctant to implement smart tools into the task handling process. What's more, the industry of innovation was not as dynamic as it is for the time being. Most companies back then were considered to be the tech adopters, not the proactive innovators. In other words, in 2016, ASEAN was lagging behind in terms of tech applications being compared to other regions and developed countries. But just 2 years later, since the date this research was released, the outlook of the regional economy changed sharply. ASEAN Next 2018, a forum held in Bangkok, Thailand, expressed a clear message and resolutions to all state members on intensifying science and innovation cooperations with potential partners, aiming to leverage more on modern technology to economically thrive in the following decade. And 7 years on, what the bloc is experiencing is beyond the past expectations. ASEAN now, in 2025, is among the forefront of automation and AI implementation in several major industries, with initiatives being brought forward back-to-back. Singapore is going to put forward an autonomous vehicle trial during the last quarter of 2025. Vietnam and Germany shake hands to pave the way for automation, grounding the country's upcoming industrial leap. Malaysia and Indonesia are ambitious about the future of smart manufacturing. Thailand even redefines the country's development pathway via incorporating automation. The Philippines is boosting its chip-making industry with automation applications. Even with cautions, both Laos and Cambodia are also accepting this trend and making their first move in adopting related technologies into their local markets. It seems that ASEAN is determined to fully equip itself with sufficient innovation capabilities which can pave their way to intensively compete with other world economies. This master plan, at first, is promising, and it has also proved to be the driving factors which benefit not just the big market picture, but also the micro ones standing from the perspectives of workers. Productivity is profit, as long as the manufacturer can shorten its costs in terms of time, while guaranteeing product qualities, maximizing the return and saving up more of other capitals initially invested in the venture are feasible. This desirable setting has become more achievable, attributing to the emergence of automation, illustrated through several milestones of different ASEAN state members. Subsequently, the employment market has also reached certain breakthroughs. Monotonous and repetitive tasks are gradually taken over by machines, leaving more windows for workers to take on those that demand more human creativity. Additionally, the incorporation between human force and technology helps minimize errors in production, ensuring better efficiency in the manufacturing process. With better efficiency in place, which later generates higher profit, regular wage increments and better working policy are part of the current working culture for most ASEAN nations. Vietnam textile industry is by far more exemplary in this case. The local garment textile sector has integrated automated cutting machines, digital pattern design, and robotic sewing assistant into their operations, targeting at improving their capabilities to meet the growing export demands, especially during the time of post-COVID-19 pandemic. As the output goal is achieved without overworking staff, more firms in the industry are able to scale up, which results in a significant revenue of $44 billion, enabling higher compensations for workers. National data reveals that the average monthly salary of workers across various industries rose to 7.7 million VND, approximately equivalent to $308 in 2024, which stood for an 8.7% increase from 2023, while the garment and manufacturing sectors saw a rise of more than 12% income growth, reflecting the impact of technological adoption on faster wage gains. Not halting from there, automation is believed to open more job opportunities with an annually enlarging vacancy pool for any potential individuals in innovation and automation development. Catching up with the trend, it is imperative that firms encourage workforce to upskill, resulting in higher proficiency in machine control and even innovation abilities to upgrade current technology. June 2024, Thailand's government stated to enforce a training plan for 280,000 eligible talents throughout the three high-tech fields, semiconductors, electric vehicles, and AI in the upcoming 5 years. A 250% tax deductions will also be applied to any firms that invest in employee training within the mentioned sectors and rolling out accredited relevant technological courses. Through this movement, according to Thailand's Board of Investment reports, about 9,600 new jobs were created as of mid-2025, primarily engineer and technical roles in Thailand, displaying a direct result of upskilling incentives and foreign investment. With such rigorous execution of automated innovation, ASEAN's economy has become more dynamic, with business and trade operating around the clock, channeling in massive profits for key industries. Yet, any accomplishment comes with a cost which requires time, also efforts to mitigate its side effects. The current era of AI and automation at some level mirrors the industrialization time during the middle of the 18th century. Machines were first introduced into production. Productivity got rocketed, helping firms save up a certain amount of labor cost previously used for manual tasks. However, such evolution also pushed a large number of workers to the brink of unemployment if they could not pick up the relevant skills fast enough. The similar situation can return 2 centuries later under the current fast rate of automation scaling in Southeast Asia. According to the ILO's research in 2016, 3 in 5 jobs will be under the risk of automation. Female workers, workers of lower education, and workers of lower paid jobs are highly likely to undergo the undesirable impact, including salary cut, or worse, layoff. 5 out of 10 ASEAN official members, namely Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Cambodia, are projected to have at least 44% to 70% of workers being impacted due to fast-scaling automation and AI. If no resolution takes effect on time, a massive unemployment can place a tremendous burden on both the economy and society, whose influence is complicated to be reversed. To mitigate the side effects of current fast-paced automated processes in several sectors, government and training providers are required to make a step ahead, actively anticipating automation impacts. Relevant coursework should be introduced in both major tertiary educational programs and companies, equipping workers of various seniority with grounding knowledge and skill sets that could be well adapted to the fast-changing market's outlook due to automation. However, 7 years has passed since the ILO's projection, and the gap between workers' skills and the technology updates still requires more efforts to mend. It seems that ASEAN is struggling to catch up with the rapid pace of technology development and the market's subsequent shift. In Southeast Asia, 62% of workers will require reskilling by 2030, with 96% of employers committing to upskilling. Yet, finding suitable talent remains a core barrier, especially in Singapore and Vietnam. Therefore, on a larger scale, start small, scale fast is a slogan reminding markets leaders to stay mindful of certain factors when it comes to a mass revamp in their firm's function through automation and smart technologies. This will also grant any human capitals involved with enough time for further adjustment. The executive boards are advised to begin their change with single process, which tends to upgrade conventional tools into automated ones or transform monotonous tasks such as data entry or invoice processing into more time-efficient duties. Clear benefits, minimal risk, and fast implementations are the criteria to focus on when selecting which department should enter the trial process of automation. Once the pilot seems feasible, proven through workers' adaptation level, increase in output and reduction in cost, rapid expansion of automation to other aspects or systems are recommended. Through this approach, it is believed that firms can minimize unexpected side effects when integrating freshly new systems into their manufacturing. Furthermore, agility, value maximization, and expertise in tech transformation are the adding qualities that firms can achieve through start small, scale fast, stay grounded amid undesirable crises that can take place during the shifting process. Automation or industrialization is a process that the world must go through wishing to arrive at a better height in both social and economic aspects. But what is still true is that big and sudden change tends to bring a great cost that requires parties involved to stay prepared and vigilant to overcome its side effects. In the case of automation or any future revolution, a rocking hit of machines right at the employment market is inevitable. While automated operation promotes higher productivity and fast generating profits, it cultivates a massive anxiety among current staff regarding being replaced. However, it is never a dead-end setting. Automation will grant any players involved with chances for wage increments and better working standards, as long as they have a proactive manner in upgrading their skills to meet the demand of the workplace. Besides, firms are advised to start slow with automation scaling to both try the new operation process and also observe for any malfunctions popping up during the experimental period. This approach will allow both leaders and workers time to adjust and adapt to the new work environment while lowering the unpreferred side effects of automation. So that's the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it and found the news interesting. For your convenient reference to further details of the news I mentioned, please find the links to my blog page in the description, where I have compiled all the related information. If you have any questions, or you want to discuss more on what I shared today, please leave your comments below. I would love to talk to each of you more as well. You can search for more episodes of this 10-minute C discussion podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, and my own blog page. Thank you for listening to today's episode all the way to the end. And I hope to see you again in my next episode of 10-minute C discussion, which will be released soon. Once again, this is Nora, your host. Thank you so much and goodbye.